how do you pull so many people in the booth to talk to you? You know, there's some shows we work where it's a small home and garden show and every customer basically hits every single booth. But a lot of our best events aren't like that. Canton, the state fairs, the rodeos. People are there just for different kind of experiences or looking for different things. And there's certain people that just have that ability to draw customers over, whether it's through body language, eye contact, jokes, lines you're using. What do you think is your superpower for how you're able to pull so many people over?
I feel like what I'm really good at is I'm just hyper intentional about being open to selling to anybody, but also qualifying a person out if they're not qualified. So it's like, I've told this, I think, to you guys before on a Texoma call. I think I've talked to you guys this before. My job when I say, hey, I'm cutting deals, is literally just to make them look. That's it. That's it. My job is to break the pattern. That's it. Right? At its basic bare bones, I just want them to look at me and see sharp, shiny, really expensive looking stuff. That's my job. Right? From there, my challenge to anybody that feels like they're not doing a good job of being able to like bring people to the booth is work on being a better conversationalist. I believe that I can have a conversation about anything to anyone, right? It doesn't matter if they're 90, it doesn't matter if they're 12. I feel like I could have a conversation and I feel like I could build enough value and rapport and make a couple of corny jokes that makes a person kind of like let down their guard for me to be able to talk to a person about buying kitchen knives. Now, at the end of the day, Calvin, I don't want to talk to a person that's not in the market for knives, right? So that's just is what it is. Now, if you've got a person that you're like, that's a whale and they need to buy this stuff, right? Which we see them at every event. It's like, hey, cutting deals. I'm waiting for you all day. Now, if you say something as silly as, I'm cutting deals, I'm pretty sharp over here. Are you guys familiar with Cutco? It's super, in my opinion, non-confrontational at all, right? And I personally believe I've tried a lot of lines, guys. I think I've probably tried more than most, right? On different types of lines to use. I've had freaking colonels in the army that are the most serious people in the world walk past me and I say, I'm cutting deals, and be like, stop in their tracks and go, you son of a bitch. That's funny, right? It's so stupid. And my God, you guys have worked with me. You guys, I say it to everybody, literally everybody. I don't discriminate on anybody. I say it to everybody, right? We're cutting deals, and it's so small and it's so simple, but it breaks the pattern enough for a person to look and then be able to have a conversation with them. I talked to Josh about this. Like when I was talking to Josh about this, when I was working with him at Tulsa, he was doing cutting deals, pretty sharp. And then bam, are you familiar with Cutco? I'm like, that's not it. Remember, guys, every person you say I'm cutting deals to is not going to say, knives, I need them. And that's okay. Your job, though, is to say I'm cutting deals and be able to bring that person that's like, oh, knives. And they usually are, they have the same reaction, guys. The person that breaks the pattern that you say I'm cutting deals to, or whatever you say to them to break their pattern, usually goes, they give that pause. That's where that's your area of opportunity, where they walk past and they go, oh, Cutco, honey. That's where I'll say, yeah, y'all familiar with Cutco? Or could you guys use some good knives maybe? And again, I'm a big believer. I was actually talking to one of our teammates about this, or team members on this. And they're like, dude, you always stand when you're talking to a person right away. You always have like your shoulders turned to them. Why is that? And I actually had never thought about this really until this year. So I'm standing when I'm standing at the booth, right? And the booth is here, right? I usually do this. I'm kind of just standing there. Yeah, we're cutting deals. Not really even making necessarily direct eye contact. And then I'm hyper aware though, right? I'm like looking to see if they're reacting what I'm saying. I'll say, cool, we're cutting deals. And I'll kind of notice if they stop. I'm like, yeah, you guys familiar with Cutco? And I'm still here. So here's what I found, which again, everybody's different. What I found is that a person that is at their booth at attention, pretty confrontational. Like, I'm going to sell you. All right. I'm going to sell you some shit. I'm a big believer, right? As I just said, I believe in having a conversation with people. So if I'm just like, yeah, we're cutting deals. Yeah, we're pretty sharp over here. Yeah, you guys familiar with Cutco? Nice. Nice. Are you guys in the market for some good knives, maybe? Cool. Yeah, you guys here for anything specific or just kind of browsing? Cool. Awesome. Find anything cool yet? Not really? Cool. Awesome. Well, you found the sharpest guys here. No, just kidding, Mrs. Jones. But in all seriousness, let me show you what makes us different. And then I cut leather. That's it. And then they're in. Right? Now I'm not talking to a person that's like, I'm not in the market for sharp knives, or I'm not in the market for knives, dude. I'm good. Thanks though. Just kind of looking. I'm just kind of selling. Right? Again, I think the more you do it, the more you're able to just have those witty comebacks, right? And it's not even a comeback. It's just like you're creating conversation, but also making it light. So if I were to say anything, how do I pull so many people to the booth, Calvin? I'm just really intentional about being open to having a conversation. And if a person isn't qualified, I'll let them on their way. That's fine. But I would rather talk to a person and also make myself look busy than just be standing there twiddling my thumbs. Right. And I would say maybe body language matters. It's like, yeah, we're cutting deals. And then like you can let your arms fall once you've again like opened them up and they've opened you up in a way too when they're actually talking to you. And by the way, I think once you've actually maybe built a little rapport, Steve-O, well, are you guys drunk enough to buy knives yet? But I think that if you cast your net a little bit wider with something that's still funny, right? But also can bring that person that maybe be a little like, think about how many introverts we sell to, right? The introverts, I think they're a huge opportunity in our business, but introverts, if you're aggressive with them, they're probably not going to talk to you, right? Unless they're just really, really excited about knives, right? So how can you be like, again, like the managers talk about more like CVI stuff. It's like, how can you try to be a chameleon to everybody that you talk to? And I think that, again, being just kind of like even keel. And once I've like within the first 45 seconds to a minute, guys, my customer, I am doing my best to be like that person as much as we can. And that's like Jason Jeffrey stuff, right? Which is like mirroring and matching to your best of your ability. But the first, you got to feel a person out. If you're just this type of person, whether you're super quiet or super, super loud, you're going to attract that person. Why not try to be able to attract everybody? Which is, hey, we're cutting deals. It's not loud, right? It's not aggressive. Say we're cutting deals. We're pretty sharp. It's my job is to get them to look. And if they're interested, they're going to stop, Steve-O. They're going to stop, Kelvin. It doesn't matter who it is. If they're interested, if you get them to look, they're going to stop.
You said something when you were going through that kind of caught my attention, that I think maybe some people on our team use the wrong way. And you said you'd rather look busy, but I feel like when you said that, you meant you'd rather look busy like you're working with people because that attracts more people. Like, why are they looking? You don't mean like, oh, I want to look busy like I'm working on my computer or I'm writing down or I'm doing this 24/7.
100%.
Like,
yeah, man. My phone's there because I use my phone for videos and I use my phone for calculator, but man, it is not. Dude, I had a customer that bought from me at the Minnesota State Fair this year, guys, that bought $6,000 in CPO in like 45 minutes, right? Interactions, realtor customer that I talked to. And they emailed me. He went out of his way. He goes, hey, I just wanted to really say, like, we saw your guys' other booth and everybody was on their phones. So thank you so much for being attentive and saying something to us. My first thing to them, guys, we're cutting deals. Oh, nice. We got some Cutco knives, right? I was just attentive. Like doing something on your phone that's not urgent is just not it, dude. So it's like, hey, what am I doing that could maybe be making a customer feel like they're not being paid attention to? Think about the customer that like waltzes by your booth that you're not really paying attention to. And then you look up and you're like, fuck, and they're gone. Think about it. It happens a lot to a lot of people. But if you would have just been like, and you can see them in your peripherals, but whatever's going on in your phone is for some reason more important than a potential customer that you can buy and sell a Cutco kitchen to right now, right? It's like, how are you looking at that? And I think that's a fair question. It's a fair point, Calvin. I think everybody's guilty of it. Nobody's immune to it, right? But your level of intentionality behind, like, hey, like I take more orders than most people. And my average order on Vector Connect, technically at booths, is still probably a little bit lower than some. But I am more excited to talk to more people and add more people to my CRM. And I still sell a high average order to a lot of people, but I'm more excited about getting that cute old lady that's 90 a peeler that she lost, right? I'm still going to be that person that's going to talk to everybody. Because again, I can't even tell you how many times, if I had 1,000 hands, it's like the amount of times that I'm talking to somebody that maybe not even that interested, right? But I'm just shooting the shit with them. And then that super money couple comes by and they're like, what the hell are they talking about? Right? And then you say something to them. They're like, yeah, you guys are familiar. And usually the funny thing is the customer that you're talking to, just shooting the shit with, has Cutco, usually, right? That's not even that interested. But guess what? You can do. Yeah, Mrs. Jones, how long have you had yours? 35 years? Never had them sharpened? It's pretty wild. Are you guys in the market for some good knives? Maybe? Here, let me show you how they work. And then usually the customer, what's amazing about it, guys, is if you're actually intentional about this stuff, usually the customer that's had them for 30 years goes, oh shit, he's about to sell stuff. You're going to love them. Bye. And then they just jet. And they weren't going to buy shit from you anyway. And that's fine. Right? But it brought that money customer that you're going to sell ultimate steak knives to. Right? I think the best way to look at this, by the way, guys, which I think, again, comes from Brandon and Kareem out in Hawaii. And when they are there to make money. That is literally the number one priority. I think Kareem is the best at it. So it's like when you're at the booth, right? Are you sitting there trying to follow up with customers, or are responding to a text, or posting in a group me, or whatever? Or are you actually paying attention to the customers that are in front of you? Because that's what matters right now. You can call your realtor client back later when it gets slower. You can call your mom after the show's done, right? Like the things that aren't as urgent, like remember, the urgent things are urgent things. They're going to happen at the booth from time to time. But if you're doing that the majority of the time, where you're just kind of putzing on your phone or putzing on an iPad or putzing on your computer, thinking you're being productive, you are not. You're not putting out the right image.
So I love everything you shared on that. And I think this is such a great topic. And it's one of those sort of like next level mentality things that we probably haven't touched on as much in all the years that we've offered training and had calls and things like that. But I was just laughing when that came up, because the very first video I ever did for any kind of events training a lifetime ago, back before we were the video team for everything, it was literally on attracting people to the booth. And you can literally look back at the state fair booths that we've had over the years, when we had the ones on Nimitz, when we had the first booth in Embarcadero, where we were in the different part of the building. Those were pass-through spaces. Like most of the people that we were interacting with, they weren't necessarily in there just as like a shopping building. They were in there because it was air conditioned, or they were in there because they were going from point A to point B. And you know, there's other events we do like this too, where we just get lost in the void. Canton can be this way. And you could literally see it in the averages of certain people on the team. There's certain people on the team that had sort of a boldness and an ability to kind of pull people in, and you would see it in their results. And so there's people that would have very high averages in Grand Place and then the Coliseum, but you'd put them in that first Embarcadero booth and their averages would nosedive. But you would put other people like Calvin, Curtis, me, Carlton, we historically had an easier time sort of pulling them out. Now you could chalk a little bit of that up to personality, just a willingness to talk to more people or acknowledge people going by. But there is still technique to that. And because it's something I'm really passionate about, I just want to throw my 2 cents in real quick because I get to it. For me, guys, I will talk to as many people as I possibly can. What I say depends on how qualified they are. Hey folks, how are you? Howdy folks, just something. I just want them to literally turn their face and look at me. Kind of, you know, Bert put it best, is just pattern interruption. That's the better way to put it. I'm just looking for any kind of eye contact. If there's super money, I love to make them smile or make them laugh. You know, just, oh my gosh, we've been waiting for you guys here all day. Or, oh, you found the knives. It's just stupid. And because it's dumb, they laugh. And it's like, oh, you found the knives. We set all this up. We heard you were coming. And it's just cheesy and dumb, but whatever. Again, laughter reduces tension. It's always a good thing. But the 2 things that I'm looking for, because that's something very specific for me, when they turn and look at me, I'm looking for 1 of 2 things. I'm either looking for recognition or interest. That's it. Recognition or interest. And that takes different forms. Recognition in the sense of like, was that stuff my mom had? Or, oh, Cutco's here. You know, that recognition that comes from people where like they're kind of, their eyes change. The interest is, it could be something as simple as they've been going past a bunch of mops and a bunch of piddly just bull crap that they have at the show. And then all of a sudden they see a high quality professional booth with like shiny cookware and knife sets, and just some recognition of like, oh, wow, that's kind of different. That's kind of nice looking. So and you pick up on that through just their facial expressions, their body language, and based on what we're getting from that, then I will make every effort to engage with them. Oh, are you guys familiar with Cutco? Have you ever heard about our product? Hey, you know, hey, can I show you this real quick? Can I give you the 60-second version? There's a million things you can say from there. Even just, how's the show been? Have y'all found some really cool stuff yet? And you know, like, oh yeah, it's been good so far. I'm like, oh my gosh, and you haven't even got to my booth yet. You're about to die. And it's just, again, stupid cheesy stuff. But it's not cheesy stuff because I think it works. It's cheesy stuff just to make them smile and laugh. The other thing that I'm just a real big believer on this, I think you've got to work within your own personality. You know, I can't be Bert any more than Steven can be Matt, any more than Matt can be Rob Steiner. Like you do need to know your professional identity, but certain things are universal. And if you had to ask, what would you hope a customer's first impression of you to be like? and then you sort of think that question out logically. Well, some version of you, either you're enjoying your day, you're enjoying being at that show, or you're enjoying your job. Hopefully one of those, if not all three of those things, are likely true. And the easiest way to show that is with your body language and your facial expressions. And so don't get me wrong, like I've even talked to Miriam about this. Shows are weird because we may only talk to 5 people in 8 hours, but you have to be hyper vigilant the entire time. So even when you're not working, it still is draining. Like it's actually draining in your energy because you have to be hyper vigilant all the time. By the way, that's what being a parent is. It's exciting. Okay. But you just kind of have to be. And so it's still kind of draining. So it's easy, to catch you at the wrong time. So I say this, there's no judgment on this at all. But I think when you think about the fact that we can control a lot of the first impression people have on us, just like a relaxed smile, not just like crazy over the top, but a relaxed smile goes a long way. And Zoom, if there's anything, like Zoom has been really good for me. Everyone hates Zoom, but it is what it is. It's been good for me for the last 2 years to have to watch myself and just see my RBF all the time, and just how like disapproving and judgmental and negative I look when I'm not paying attention. Every like resting face I have is basically this. And it just looks angry or old or bitter or judgy. And like I have to like purposely, well, I know it's terrible because y'all too many of y'all laugh when you saw that, because that's what you see from me. So it's had to make me more mindful, and I think that all of us need to hold ourselves accountable to that too. So again, I just know what my philosophy is. I'm not telling you it's better than yours or it's better than Bert's, but I thought it out. It's super intentional. This is one area of mine, super intentional. I'm looking for interest or recognition 100% of the time, and I want to control and manufacture as much of the first impression that I possibly can with my customers. So just 2 thoughts on that I had to throw out too. That is such a huge topic, and we should weave that through a lot of the year right now.